welcome Molly and JT. Both of you, congrats on your amazing top 5 finishes in your categories. Mark, on the other hand, hello Mark. How's it feel to fucking lose? How does it feel? Finally, after all this time, I can finally take 1 second of my time to rub it in at the fact that I beat Mark Pulver. Mark, this is a one-on-one interview here. Just ignore everyone else. How does it feel to lose to an Armageddon bag?
You know, I actually didn't lose to you. I've still won.
You got 8th. I got 5th. That's a win. That is
No
a
matter
win in my
what,
book.
I still win.
No, that's not how it works. That's not how it works at all. All these podcast views saying Weebad's the best. What now? Top 5. I mean, I'm pretty sure multiple people in the top 5 were using Armageddon bags. I mean, I don't know if I could ever run a Weebad
They all
bag
had
again.
Weebad at the end of the day.
Oh, God.
Even you.
Oh, Lord. I
Don't even lie to
me. For people who are listening, if you haven't listened to other podcasts, I do love Weebad. Mark loves to rub it in that Weebad is the one and only bag because he is sponsored by Weebag. But anyways, okay, enough with my celebratory rubbing it in. So basically, this match, 5th place is the win for me. So this debrief is going to be of the 2022 Monster match. It was put on by Ruth and Justin. I always say Ruth's last name wrong, so I'm just going to say Justin Carbone and Ruth. How do you guys say it? Soucie? Okay. Both of them have put on amazing matches. I mean, they're honestly one of my favorite matches to go to every year. Their summer match, and then this one was their nighttime monster match. I have JT Hall and Molly Hall both on the podcast. Both of them finished really well. Molly got top youth. Congratulations, Molly.
Thank you.
And JT got 3rd place in the P.R.O match. Crushed it. So congrats to you. I got 5th place. I'm excited. Mark still sucks. But anyways, Mark's on the podcast as well. Basically, at this point, he's become a co-host. I swear. He's literally on almost every freaking podcast. But hi. Hello, everyone. Welcome. JT, Molly, this is your first time being on the podcast. How are you guys?
Oh, we're good.
Doing well. Getting ready for the match this weekend.
Where are you guys off to this weekend?
New Ulm. Michael David Olson is having his Fall Harvester center fire match. So we just got our load development done today, and we're loaded up and ready to go if the storm doesn't hit us too hard.
So that's right. So you guys are out in Minnesota. How far is this center fire match for you guys?
4 hours one way.
That's not bad, but that's not good. So yeah, I just I live in Billings, and we just went. Girlfriend and I and a buddy all decided last minute to go to the Newcastle, Wyoming match, their first NRL22X match they've put on. We decided at basically 6 o'clock the night before that we're going to go. So we woke up at 2:30 in the morning, drove 4.5 hours, shot the match, and drove 4.5 home. It was a lovely weekend.
That sounds rough.
How'd you do with that match, Shane?
Well, listen, Mark. It's all about percentages.
Who won the match?
That's for the other podcast. We'll talk about. She actually did phenomenal. They were in the group
second lady to get an open win, so good for her.
She was awesome. So Camden was actually in the squad behind us. My squad only had 3 people. Theirs had 5. The squad in front of us was a little slow, so basically we were in their squad all day. So yeah, she was really awesome. I've never met her before. She shot lights flipping out. But yeah, I actually will have another podcast coming out soon. I'm gonna record that one here next week. But
I'll be on that one as
match. Well. You weren't even there. You're not on that podcast.
I'm a co-host at this point.
No. You have to be at the match to be on the podcast. But no, I didn't do too well at that one. We'll talk about that one. I got 9th, which to me actually wasn't bad. It was 86%, so I'll still take that. That's my second highest score in the NRL X season, so I'm happy with that.
I noticed it's not quite a 1-0-0.
No. It's not 100%, Mark. I'm not in first place like you, but you did lose to me. So that's all that matters.
I never lost.
I'm not going to let you live that down.
I mean, you lost to me.
You didn't even walk the prize table in a sensible manner.
I
I
walked
told
before
you before you went up there not to pick up certs. And what did you
Listen,
do?
I
You
picked off a
picked up
cert.
certs.
I got a Voodoo, $600 off of Voodoo. Ordered one up. It's 2-week wait. I'll have my Voodoo in 2 weeks. I'm so
Rule number
excited.
1, you don't pick percentage offs if you don't.
Oh my god! Listen, Devin needed a new rifle, and she's getting the Voodoo. So she's actually taken my old Voodoo. I just ordered myself a Voodoo, same exact one I had before, but this one's gonna have a 22-inch, 1.2 straight contour barrel on there. No threads, just keeping it straight, smooth. So,
Nice.
and they said 2 weeks, which is gonna be awesome. So,
Wow, I'm actually shocked it's that fast.
yeah, they announced on their Facebook that it was 30 days for all orders. I think it's like 30 days for a full build and 2 to 4 weeks on their barreled actions, if I'm not mistaken. So they just got in 20 stainless steel, 22-inch, 1.2 contour barrels. So I'm probably like one of the first ones to grab it. They literally got it all when I was on the phone with her. So, but yeah, I'll be getting that here hopefully in 2 weeks. That'll be my new rifle. But anyways, enough about me real quick. Let's go over everyone real quick. So everyone's already heard, Mark, what you're using. So at this point, we already know your Team Bergara, and I'm pretty sure nothing has changed with your gear. But JT and Molly, first tell us a little about yourself and also what gear you're running.
Well, as you said earlier, I'm Molly. Started shooting for Team Bergara in 2021.
Yep.
I run a Bergara B14 Carbone with Hawkins Precision 2-piece rings. The Skypod, Vixen Andy Tac Pro trigger. For my bag, I use a Coltac waxed trap bag with light fill.
You might want to mention your stock and scope.
Yes. For my normal scope is a Night Force Attacker 5x25. But for the night match, I used a Vortex Razor HG Gen 2 because on the Night Force, only the crosshairs lit up, and on the Gen 2, the whole reticle lit up, which is definitely something you want for a night match.
Yeah, huge advantage. If it's just your center point, your center crosshair lit up, that is a big disadvantage at a night match.
Yeah.
I can't believe you remembered all that.
Oh, and then,
did you say your chassis? Yeah.
MPA hybrid.
Yeah.
I think that's it, right? We said everything.
Yeah.
Bergara, okay.
And
then
Molly
JT,
is our only youth and female shooter on Team Bergara.
I know. Team Bergara needs to step it up. I want to see more women on the team. All right. I mean, I guess there is technically 2 because Mark probably identifies as a woman, but I mean, we need more youth. We need more. I want to see more youth and ladies on the team. Can't just be one.
I like that.
But Molly is representing. I mean, she just got top youth. She's shooting phenomenal.
I do my best.
I mean, to be fair, everyone in this room got top 5, and half of us took home a trophy except Mark. Well, I mean, I didn't either, but I still want to point in that Mark's not going to trophy.
At least I have a trophy wall, Shane.
I have a trophy wall too.
I have both a trophy wall, the Wall of Fame, and then I have a Wall of Shame.
Listen,
for the sad podium finishes, 2nd and 3rd.
Listen, I am staring at a trophy that I won for being the match director at the champion.
Greased your own wheels on that one, I see.
Listen, all right. I've never won an NRLX match, but this was a fun one. So, okay, sorry. JT, what are you running?
I'm running a RimX and a MPA comp. I too normally run an Attacker, the 7-35. And for this one, I also ran the HD Gen 2. Vixen Andy trigger, Armageddon gear, OG bag. I've been running that bag for years and I'm comfortable with it. I like the spur mount, so I just kind of stuck with that for this rifle. And I'm running a straight tapered barrel, no threads. And this was my first match shooting the new Norma match ammunition. And boy, that RimX loves it. Couldn't.
My Voodoo does too. That Norma is actually impressive. I was very surprised. I was actually tempted to run at that match. I did not, but honestly, I think I'm gonna start shooting that stuff. Stuff shoots great, and it's pretty inexpensive.
Yeah, well, and it's available. I mean,
it's a ton of it.
Hard to find that.
Our Shields has tons and tons of that ammo. So, sorry, you were saying, so you said MPA, you said your scope. Okay, I think that's pretty much everything.
Yep.
Mark, has anything gear-wise changed for you?
No.
So,
just Team Bergara.
Just Team Bergara. Do you see how they also talked about Armageddon bags, Mark? Isn't that pretty? Listen, 2 people in this call, both won trophies, and both of them using Armageddon gear. That's pretty impressive. I think that's a win.
No, you didn't listen. She runs a Coltac.
Oh, okay. Oh, there you go. Even better.
Coltac crap bag.
Listen, there is some 2 other companies here, Mark. We might need to call Weebad and if I don't see podiums from Weebad, we might have to start.
I think I'll tell Robert not to sponsor any more of your matches. I'll put in a word. Don't you worry.
Oh Lord, I love it. Well, Mark. So yeah, you're running your Bergara in a Manor stock Athlon scope. I think we've kind of already talked about.
Yeah,
this
we don't
time.
need to go over it. We bet
everything.
Throw we bet in there.
I'm running a Voodoo, an MPA chassis, a Vortex Razor Gen 3 scope, spur mount. I still need to copy what you did, JT, with your spur mount. That white on that spur mount looks beautiful. I really need to hurry up and do that because it pops so well. I love it.
Did I send you the videos on how to do that?
You did, and I still haven't done it. I know.
All right.
It's been like 6 months, and I still haven't done it. I need to. But I'm also running the same trigger as them. The Bix and Andy, love it.
I think we all run Bix and Andy here.
Yeah, I think we all do. That it's just such a nice trigger, and the fact that you can take it apart too is really nice. Don't lose the ball. I've talked about this on the podcast before. There's a spring and a ball in there. Be very careful. It goes flying across the room. I've lost it many times. I run in. I always say this wrong. I actually listened back to a podcast and someone brought this up. I say the wrong bipod every time. I do not run an AccuTac.
No, you run an Accu shot.
I know. On every podcast, I say AccuTac.
I've even told you this. You just need to say an Atlas bipod.
I know, but
it's an Atlas line. The company is B&T. It's an Accu shot, and then they have too much going on. You just need to tell people it's an Atlas bipod. Everybody knows.
I run the Super Cal. Okay, it's a phenomenal bipod. It's a little too wide for what I probably need, but some of these Montana matches where we're using like tractor tires, it's really nice to have a wide stance. A lot of the other NRLX matches, I'm starting to realize I probably need something with a little bit closer together legs.
You just get a better. God, dude, I can't. I'm sorry, I was drinking at the bar, talking to a lady. I'm a little distracted. I forget. You get a better lower point of center of gravity.
Yeah.
It took me forever to get there.
You're stuttering, Mark. It's fine.
I know. I was drinking.
Mark is currently stuck in Bismarck. But this podcast.
The weather's terrible.
He was supposed to come to Billings to shoot a match here and go hunting, but I don't even know if he'll make it, bud. It's not looking
not looking good, yeah.
No. So, but anyway, it's pretty much the rest of my gear. I mean, other than that, that's pretty much all I run. I do run Weebad bags and Armageddon. I have multiple bags for different reasons. I can't go live without my Weebad pump pillow, so I still got to rep my Weebad. So no hate to Weebad. Just Mark loves rubbing it, and if I use any other bag besides the Weebag, so I have to show some love to other ones.
You might actually get a podium finish one of these days.
Oh my god!
You might actually know what it's like to get a trophy at a match that you didn't give to yourself.
Listen. I didn't decide to get the match director's trophy. They were nice enough to get me one, so it's not my fault. I ordered one for Tom.
Honestly, I don't know why you got that.
You didn't even put on the match. What are you fucking talking about? You know how much hours it goes? That's like Ruth and Justin. That is one thing that I give them so much credit for, and I've talked to Ruth and Justin about this before. The amount of hours that goes into putting on a match, especially a high level match, like reaching out to sponsors, doing the course of fire, it takes so much fucking time that you literally need a trophy for yourself at that point, because you need some type of pat on the back. It's a lot of work.
To put it in perspective for people who've never been to Ruth and Justin's matches, Ruth goes out of her way to make sure everybody feels like they're having a good time. You check in, they both put in time and effort to make sure that you got a swag bag. Ruth even goes the extra mile and puts out thank you cards that come with every prize you get that's pre-labeled and stamped, and all you have to do is sign it. You can't fuck it up.
Yeah.
Just put it in the mail. You can even sign it there and give it
Ruth,
to
all
her.
right? Ruth is in trouble. She scared the living shit out of me at the fucking match. Me and Devin, my girlfriend Devin, came to the match. We're sitting there on like stage, I think it was actually your stage, JT. Or no, you were on stage 11. So it was stage before you. We're sitting there like looking in our bag, reloading, and Ruth comes up to me and goes, "Hey guys, I just want to let you guys know, we've had a couple people come up to us and I need to come talk to you guys. Unfortunately, we're gonna have to give you guys a warning for not having enough fun." And she literally like literally her whole tone was like, we're in trouble. Like scared the shit out of Devin. Devin thought she was disqualified for something. Like she was about to cry. So literally Ruth, I mean, she made us laugh after the fact, but I'm mad at Ruth. I told her I was angry with her. She scared us.
That's amazing.
It's funny. Oh, she drew it. She was tired too, so she like drew it out kind of long, and it's just really almost like sitting there like, holy fuck, did I flag someone? Like what? I mean, it's a dark match. I thought I was being safe, but yeah, Ruth is in the doghouse right now. I'm upset with her. We're not friends anymore. So real quick, this is a kind of a first. So what Mark was saying, if you've never been to Ruth or Justin's matches, by far she thinks of everything. I mean, Ruth or Justin does a phenomenal job. Yeah, they both do. Like they do a great job with the course of fire. They think of every little detail. Food was amazing. Desserts were amazing. I heard JT, your wife, you guys made those, correct?
Yes, we catered the P.R.O dinner on Friday and then provided the desserts on Saturday.
Yeah, Devin said thank you for the desserts. She said she tried like all of them twice and she loved them. So she said they were delicious. But yeah, so real quick, this is kind of the first time we've ever had an RO on the podcast. So this is kind of an interesting point of view because we don't have match directors on the podcast because of the fact we don't want, obviously, the whole point of this match debrief is to, I wouldn't say not talk shit about a podcast, but more like break it down and say what we liked about or disliked.
We are the podcast. You mean?
What I say, podcast? Yeah. Sorry, match. So this is the first time we've had an RO, which is kind of interesting. So JT, you've kind of saw this match from the other side, as a competitor because you shot the RO match, but also you RO'd the whole thing. So what did you take away from this match? I mean, I know you've RO'd many times before it with Ruth and Justin, but what did you take away from this match?
I think my biggest takeaway is how well thought out the match was by Ruth and Justin that gave the ROs the ability to not only have fun while we're making sure the match is safe and fair, but we didn't have to worry about anything. I mean, at every possible scenario on each stage that if there may have been a hiccup with something, they had an answer immediately. And just having that open line of communication with the match directors for the ROs is unbelievable. Mm-hmm. So I think that's probably the biggest takeaway for me is just the amount of prep work that goes into it so things do run smoothly. And then the day of the match, I mean, that match ran incredibly smooth. I mean, when they give their safety brief, I mean, they go through and just make sure everybody's aware that, when a shooter's up, whatever shooter's on deck, be ready to go. And actually saying that and setting that expectation, like we didn't wait more than, at least on my stage, I don't think I waited more than 30 seconds on the next shooter from any squad.
Yeah, I honestly think, I mean, the match ran, the match ran smooth last year, but I mean, I think it even ran smoother this year. I
Oh, I
mean, it
Oh
was
agree.
yeah.
just efficient. But yeah, I mean, that's a very interesting point of view because, yeah, you got to see, like, my squad was pretty fast all day, but I mean, yeah, you got to see everyone. So, I mean, I never felt like a hiccup on a stage where like we had to wait for someone or the other squad was taking too long. So, I mean, yeah, as a from my standpoint, as a shooter standpoint, match ran phenomenal.
Yeah.
And a big thank you to you, JT, for even just ROing. Like, I mean, there's one thing about putting on a match, and it's very difficult, and big props to them. But to volunteer your time when you're really getting nothing really out of it, that's a big thank you. I
But
mean,
that's really not true. So IRO, well, almost every big match that comes through Rush Lake, it's our home range, and it's really easy to tell a match director, or in this case, tell Aaron, the owner of the range, that you support him. I'd rather just step up and go in an RO and show them that, hey man, we care about this range, we care about the shooting community, we want to give something back.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I was more meaning like you're not like financially. I mean, again, not like again, I put on matches, and it's not like we make millions of dollars off this. It's not like we're profiting like crazy. So same thing with Ruth and Justin. I mean, it's not like they're making a ton of money off this, but for you, it's like you don't ever see a dollar. So you're really donating your time, and that's huge. I mean, ROs to me are amazing. I mean,
Oh, I
it's
agree.
always, at least in Montana, it's always kind of hard to find ROs. And to find good ROs. But when you do, I mean, it's a huge help to the match director. One, it saves us a ton of time. Having a good an RO that knows what they're doing and can literally just, you don't have to sit there and baby them and micromanage them. I mean, it definitely helps the match run smoother. It helps the match director basically be able to step away and do other things that's not, ROing, which, is a huge part. I mean, there's a lot of other things that go on at a match.
Oh,
So
there's
it
a ton of
allows
logistics.
stages to be ran consistently across the board for all
That.
shooters.
Yep.
So
Yep.
what people
That's a
don't
huge
realize
complaint.
is, we talked about this on the previous podcast for the Poplar match. You have different squads doing different things because they misinterpret the rules.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, when you have an RO, there is no mistakes. If
Yeah.
they do mess something up, they usually will keep that the same
Yeah.
for the rest of the match, and everybody now has to adjust to that.
Exactly, and we've talked about that too in another podcast about the Badlands Brawl. Like, no hate to that match; it was still a good match. It is, again, it's really hard to find ROs, especially in northeast Montana. So, I mean, to have like a full, 11 ROs is difficult. For people listening, Ruth and Justin's match didn't just have one RO per stage. I think you guys had what, 2 per stage,
Yes.
if not.
We
I
actually
think
had
every
27 ROs total, I believe.
yeah,
So
it was phenomenal. I mean,
Well, and
having
that
that many
goes to
ROs is
show
huge.
why Ruth and Justin run it the way they do, where they include the ROs as far as trophies for shooting the match to proof it the night before, and then they let them walk the prize table in trophy order, and then they do a random mixed in every few shooters, and that just incentivizes somebody to donate their time. Now, unfortunately, some people have an issue with that, but uh, everybody
And I
complains
get
about
it.
a prize table at the end of the day. So,
And I get it from a competitor. They're like, why can't I walk the prize table sooner than these ROs? But it's like, you
well,
know what?
Shane, if you shot
I would.
better than fifth, you'd know what it's like to
No,
go
I'm
first.
not saying I'm complaining. What I'm saying is, I understand people complain about that, but they have to understand that these ROs coming to the match, this match wouldn't be as good as it was if there wasn't this many ROs and this
Yeah.
many good ROs. Like, the Badlands Brawl, we've talked about it, was still a good match. But if they had 27 ROs, you're telling me that match wouldn't be, amazing, right? So, like, having that many ROs is just a huge benefit, and it helps the match director so much. It helps the shooter so much. Everything flows better. I mean, it was perfect. I mean, I came up to JT stage. He basically was like, gave us the briefing. There was already someone, JT ran stage 11 for everyone listening at the monster match, which was essentially, well, actually, JT, do you want to explain it? Because you probably
yeah,
probably memorized the stage description. You read it so many times.
yeah. So it was the spider's den, and we had basically a big KYL rack at 100 yards, and you were shooting from inside a trailer. And the way the trailer was set up was we had taken a big cargo net and basically spread it along the back of the opening of the ramp going out. So you had to shoot from a standing position, a kneeling position, and then a prone position. And on the standing and kneeling, your rifle had to be supported on the cargo net. And then we had a black light and some creepy spiders all over the place. And
it was a spider web, JT, not a cargo net. Please, come on, let's stick with the theme here.
Yes, it was a spider web.
It was Revenge of the Spiders. I didn't see no cargo net. I saw
there
spiders.
was fake spider webs, and I actually tore them when I shot the stage.
Yes,
they got in my way.
Come on. But destroying shit.
I didn't bother to move the spider web. I just tore it with my rifle.
Jesus.
That's because he's an animal.
He should be locked up. But yeah, so stage 11 was awesome. But yeah, so there was someone in the trailer, an RO in the trailer. Yes. I think she was doing what, time and score?
I had her doing time and just making sure that nobody was sky loading. Nobody was getting, up from the prone position for their last shot without having her check the chamber. She was a really new shooter, first time ROing. So I just kind of wanted her to focus on the safety aspect. I mean, because that's the thing is for an RO, I mean, you have so much stuff that you're paying attention to, but in the forefront of your mind, every shooter, like I'm paying attention that they're actually behind their optic before they're running that bolt. They're not moving with a round in the chamber. So just starting her off with that. So I literally just had her in the trailer. She would do time and make sure everything was safe.
Yeah, and she did a phenomenal job. And then you were on the outside spotting and doing what time?
I ran the tablet and did the spotting.
Oh, sorry, yeah, tablet, my bad. So yeah, I mean, it just ran so smooth. I mean, like when I got up to that stage, it was perfect. JT did his briefing. We basically, got ready. You walk into the trailer and, try not to flag the RO who's in the back. I mean, again, they're safely out of the way, but make sure you don't, point your gun as you're getting in to the trailer. And then once you're ready, the stage started. And yeah, it was really actually a really fun stage. I actually had a blast on that stage. It was kind of cool because if you wanted to go prone and use a bipod on that stage, you had to either, I mean, I don't know what you did, Mark, but I had to actually slide my bipod all the way to the rear because if I wanted to stick my rifle into the cargo netting, if you had the bipod all the way to the front, you probably would get stuck. So at least that's how I ran it. I ran my bipod slid all the way back on the ARCA. So then I could just put my gun on the net, fire, and then same thing with kneeling, fire, and then swap to the prone, threw my bipod down. It could take my last shot. So it was a pretty fun stage. It was a really fun
that's
stage.
One of the coolest things about being an RO is you get to see how every competitor.
Everybody, yeah, because I 180'd my bipod.
So I noticed all the guys with Atlas cows. It's a wider bipod. They were all running it as far back as they could get it on their rail, legs down. Everybody, I'm going to say the bulk of people who were running a SkyPod would literally just put their legs forward, run it right through the spider web. And
I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
As a MD or as a SkyPod, yeah, you can just tuck it forward. Yeah.
I had mine deployed but reversed 180. So for anybody who's never seen a SkyPod, you can turn it 360 degrees for panning. And so you can deploy the legs. It's got a barricade block on the back. And when you turn it around, it actually gives you a little more room on the front.
So then so I actually ran a bag. It's in the ARC. I have the MPA.
No, I didn't run a bag because you didn't need to on the cargo net is soft enough. It's a soft surface. So if you run a tripod rear support, you have 3 points of contact.
Yeah, I didn't know how sturdy that cargo net was, so I ran an attached Coltac bag on the front, slid my bipod to the rear, had it deployed, and actually I could use that bipod and push my rifle all the way forward on that cargo net, which rested on the bag, and then the bipod pushed up against the cargo net and pushed against it, and then took my shots from there. So it made it really easy for me. What you end up getting on that stage, Mark?
A 6, I think. Wasn't great.
Oh.
I dropped my last 4 shots. JT and I were talking about it afterwards. I missed left but in the dark, and I was correcting left too. So I was making guesses in the dark, and unfortunately, I was making the wrong guesses in the wrong direction, just trying to
and
see if I get him. And they got progressively smaller. So at the same time, it's working against you if you're making.
And what the competitors didn't realize is you couldn't see any impacts on the berm behind you, but the berm behind the KYL was actually about 10 yards. So it was.
So wherever your misses were, yeah.
It was over amplified by the time you saw the impact.
And how did you run it, Molly?
I just put my SkyPod legs up, so I could put them through the net, and had my bag waiting on the floor. So once I went to prone, I just extended my legs and shoot how you'd normally shoot prone.
Did you run a tripod on that?
Nope. I did not.
We have not started training with a tripod yet.
Yeah.
You know what the crazy part is, Molly? You got a 7 on the stage. I got an 8. Mark got a 6. We both beat him. That's a point for us right there, Molly. That's 1 point for us.
Oh, yeah.
Did you clean any stages that night?
Listen, it doesn't matter. I got 5th. All right, I beat you. I could clean no stages, and I still got 5th. I mean, to be fair, everyone listening, I actually felt really confident at the end of that match, and I knew I did very well. I didn't think I beat Mark.
You're
to be
way
honest.
down there still.
5th is not that far.
No,
okay?
no. What was the score for 5th?
No, we don't talk about impacts. That doesn't matter.
Yeah, you were like 3 impacts ahead of me or something.
Why are you bringing up the past?
Oh God! Oh yeah, actually, it was 3 impacts in front of you.
No, it's a tight scoring match, but when you're shooting with that type of field of shooters, every point.
Yeah, no, especially a 5th place of that match to me, I felt phenomenal. I mean, for 5th place at the level of shooter that's at that match, to me that was big for me. You know, shooting other matches where I get a lot lower scores or whatever. And not talking crap at any other shooters, but the field or the level of shooter or the caliber of shooters at this match was, in my opinion, very high. I mean, the average shooter at this match is not just the average shooter; they are very good. Tyler Orth got first, probably what I would say one of the top shooters in the country. Jason Anderson got second. Mitch Stromberg got third. So I mean, really high level shooters. So yeah. Oh, all right. Let's see here. What other stage? Mark, what was your? Let's start with actually Molly. Molly, you haven't talked much. Molly, what was your favorite stage?
Ooh, my favorite stage probably was the haunted hayride.
God damn.
That's a sore subject for Mark. Mark, how'd you do on that stage?
What did I get? A 4?
I love
so, for anybody who wants to know, I had a very bad match, and that is one of the stages that cost me a lot of points. I had an extraction issue that I do not have with my Bagara. I had a spent casing get stuck in the extractor cut on the inside of the action. So I thought I had cleared everything, and then when I went to feed the new mag, I had to inspect again and seeing that I was on the inside extractor for a jam. By the time I cleared it, I think I had 5 seconds left, and I just was like, okay, I'm done. It was a rough and it was a very cleanable stage. What did you get on
Molly?
it, Molly?
On that stage, Molly, you got a 5. I got a 9. Mark got a 4. Molly, that's another point for us right there. Let's go! Another fucking point. Sorry, Mark. What happened? Sorry.
I got a 4. Yeah.
It's better than a 3.
Actually, we haven't really asked JT. How did you? I mean, I know you got 3rd. How did you do on that stage? I guess I don't really have access to that. I guess I could pull it up here. They probably posted somewhere the RO match. How'd you do on that stage?
I'm trying to remember, and I'm not sure.
It would have been stage 10.
I think I did pretty well on that one.
It was kind of like you either shot it modified prone supported or you shot off the hay bale with a bag. Either one worked.
I ran my plate on that one. I wished I would have ran my bipod a little further out and a little longer. I think I would have been more stable. But I mean, I'm that happy guy that goes to matches and I'll play with things to see what works better when I should be practicing that stuff at home and not at the match. But
JT, all the top shooters change all of their gear the night before. Come on, you should know this. You're supposed to change everything the day before a match. This is what you're supposed to do. It makes you a better shooter, okay?
Well, I mean,
that's my excuse.
I will say that, so we practiced almost every night for, it was almost 3 weeks before the match. We were lucky enough to have a 200-yard range at home. So we would go out and set up lights and, mostly just to help work on target acquisition and that kind of stuff. But I also ran, a bivvy of different bags just to see what felt best.
Yep.
And a lot of it was just what clothes we were going to wear in cold weather. Because every time I put on 3 or 4 layers, it feels like my natural point of aim isn't quite there. Mm-hmm. So I feel like I'm fighting the rifle just to find that comfortable spot. So I think
this night ended up being hot and humid.
Yeah, I was going to say, it wasn't even that cold.
It was last year.
No. Well, last year it was colder, and also the fog didn't roll in, but the moisture moved in last year, and it was almost like raining. Like it wasn't, but like I was wet last year. Where this year, I guess it still
I think
was
you
humid,
got it mixed up. We weren't wet last year. This year we were all wet. It was humid.
Yes.
I know this year's humid, but I thought last
year was just rain. Cool. No, it didn't.
I could have sworn.
Yeah, last year was cold.
Okay, was it just super cold then? I have a picture from last year, and I look like I'm wearing a full-on like penguin suit. So
it was.
I think that's when you bought your Carhartt for the first time.
No, right? that was the Polar Vortex match when I literally was wearing like 47 layers. I was a walking penguin with a heated jacket.
Yes.
How could you not be? It was so cold.
Oh yeah, I forgot, Molly. You were in our group. That's right.
Yes.
Yeah, that was
I wore pants
so cold,
like an adult.
Yeah,
listen.
I was bewildered at Mark. He was.
I still don't know.
I'm good.
Yeah, I don't know how Mark wore just pants in that. Molly and me were both freezing cold.
Yes.
And then you guys had to go shoot a stage that I already shot, so I started to drag the freaking sled, trying to get to the next stage because we were running out of time.
That was a match where I think we were the only 3-person squad, and it clearly did not work out.
It did not work.
Yeah.
I was literally like trying to run to as soon as I would shoot a stage. Yeah, I took off running the next and be like, my squad's coming. I still remember when you broke Bolt at that match and we were running across the... I'm like, what is Mark running across the field for? You're like, my Bolt! My Bolt!
Come back here.
So sorry, we got off topic, but so Molly, you said that the Haunted Hayride was your favorite stage. What about it did you really like? I mean, just the position or just?
Yeah, I really liked how it was set out. All the targets, the first 2 were, first 4, because I believe there was 2 side by side on each one.
Yep.
So the first 4 were within, I guess, how do I put this? So you didn't have to do whole lot of moving to see those first 2, but the other ones, you had to look way farther out. So it was more of a move, and it was a bigger transition. So I guess I really enjoyed the targets and the type of barricade it was, the big hay bale. I really enjoyed that one, or that obstacle.
It was a very cool stage. I think what you're trying to say, and I agree with you, is it wasn't like it was a super difficult stage, but you really didn't move much. I mean, you stayed on the hay bale the whole time, or the big hay mound, whatever you want to call that. But
it was more of like your target transition.
Yeah, like the targets were the first 2 were, the first 4, like you said, were pretty close. Mm-hmm. So your transitioning in the dark wasn't that hard, but the next ones, for people who've never seen this match or seen pictures from this match, it's a fairly box range. Mm-hmm. With berm set up, but there's targets everywhere, and now they have numbers next to it, so So on that stage, if you just were to pan left or right, it wouldn't just like you pan right and that's your next target. That could be a target for stage 4.
Yes.
So like you literally had to like look. Yeah, exactly. You had to like look carefully for the target. So it wasn't something easy where you could just snap. Like you really had to kind of
you had to know where those targets were like before you started shooting.
Now, just for people that are listening that maybe didn't go to the match, all the targets were numbered. And they also had a picture that correlated with whatever the theme of the stage was.
Mm-hmm.
So if it was, the zombie stage, you had, pictures of zombies with a number. So you knew you were shooting at targets, 30, 31, 32, 33.
So
it was
this
very
is
well done.
interesting because last year, this is how methodical Ruth and Justin get in their matches. Last year, they had some numbered stages with targets that were numbered, and then they had other stages that were a Halloween character, such as like Chucky, Jason, Freddy
Yeah.
Yeah,
Krueger.
that
What
fucked
they
me because
ran
I don't know
into,
Halloween
yes, so that was
characters. I
something they
didn't know
ran
any of them.
into. If you don't know the pop culture reference, you're at a disadvantage. So they did this year. They made sure every target had a number, in addition to, like JT mentioned, a themed target.
Yep.
Yeah, because last year it was confusing me because it was like, all right, shoot Chucky, then I don't know, Freddy Krueger, and then Scream, and I was like, I don't know who these characters are. So one, it wasn't just a mental game; it was also like, who the fuck are these characters?
Yeah.
Like I had no idea. So this year, yeah, having that next to each one was really nice. Like the pumpkin stage with pumpkins. For people listening, they brought a big, what do you call them? Just a giant pumpkin. I mean, I really don't even know how to.
No, it
Giant.
wasn't.
It,
Justin
it's a
bought it
giant.
from somebody who's like a
Yeah,
2,000-pound pumpkin or something.
it thing's huge. It was ginormous. But that was the pumpkin stage. She shot a mover that a pumpkin. It turns out you don't shoot the actual pumpkin. You shoot the target above it. Listen, my RO in that stage didn't tell us the correct. I'm just saying he didn't say the correct. I should have read it, but he didn't say the correct briefing. We were very confused on that stage. He fixed it after I made a mistake, and someone else did too. But
What was your score on that?
listen. We're not talking. We're not Mark. We're not looking at every stage, all right? Listen,
What
me and
was
Molly
my
are up
score on
2-0
that
right
one?
now. I don't know. All right, Mark, but I'm busy talking and you're just interrupting. This is unfair. What did I get
It's
here?
probably easier to say how many points I dropped on that stage.
I think you dropped 0.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. Okay, 0.1 for Mark. All right, listen. You get 1. Me and Molly beat you, Mark. That's all that matters. All right. Molly got first in youth, and I got 5th. So right there, more points than Mark. But no, that's that stage. The hay stage was actually pretty fun. Actually, it was fairly distance on that stage too. I mean, I don't know if that was the longest of the day, but that was the 104, 117, 153, 236, and then it came back 104, 117. What was the farthest target that day? Do you guys recall? Was that the farthest?
I want to say 236 was the furthest.
Okay, so that was the long range stage. Okay. And for people like never shot a night match, shooting 236 yards in the dark. Now the targets are lit up with light, but shooting 236 yards at a far berm, it's pretty hard to spot your miss.
It's more complicated than you think, yeah.
Yeah, it's not just like, I mean, yes, there is berms, so you can technically see your misses, but at that distance, you're already, you're zooming in. There's so much light that's not. I mean, it's a night match, so there's less light through your scope. It's a lot harder to see. So honestly, I think. What?
Oh, this is something So JT and I are both prior military. This is something that I told people at the match. What a lot of people don't realize with illuminated reticles, you actually want it on the lowest setting that you can see it.
Yes.
For night. The higher settings are actually meant for daytime, and a lot of people don't know that. So if anybody was running it higher to where it actually added a little flare into their scope, they were at a disadvantage than someone like myself, where I was on like setting 2. I could barely see the lit up reticle, and it didn't wash anything out on the targets.
See, and I was able to run mine at 4, and same thing. I would just keep running it up until I saw flare, and then I would back it off 1, and my magic number was 4, and it was perfect.
And that's the thing. You want the minimalist setting for night. And if you just don't have experience with that, if this is the first time you're shooting at night, that's something you're not going to know unless somebody flat out says, hey, lower your illumination setting. I was helping a bunch of people in our squad with that because I saw they were on like 9 or 8. Some other things that you learn at night is that if you're not familiar with your equipment, whether it's your bag, reloading your magazine, where your magazine release is, how to operate your scope in the dark, it's really going to accentuate that if you're not familiar with your gear at night.
Mhm.
I would say the one biggest thing that I saw at the match, that people doing wrong was, at night. It is, at least my opinion, it's a lot harder to tell if you're level if you do not have like a bubble level or one of those
Send it
fancy
level.
send it levels.
Yeah.
And I saw a lot of people on a stage probably looking through their scope thinking they're level because the terrain is kind of I guess that range is pretty flat, but it does kind of have a natural right to left kind of uphill in a sense. Like it's not perfectly straight. So looking at the scope, I think looking at people shooting the stages, it looked like a lot of people were canted on props. Now I don't know if that's just something I noticed. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know. JT, did you notice that as an RO? Did you see people
I
go
noticed that
canted?
on just about every. I mean, I RO more matches than I shoot.
Yeah.
I'm usually going to matches so Molly can shoot, and I really like to RO. I mean, it's unbelievable what you can learn watching other people shoot. But yeah, the rifle cant is probably one of the most common things that you see people doing wrong, and a lot of it is like a better natural point of aim would help a lot. But I mean, I don't know if people just don't practice the fundamentals anymore.
Yeah, I mean that so for people also JT, like you said, he ROs. He's literally, in my opinion, like the godfather of RO. I mean,
Oh,
every match I go to, he is ROing, and he is honestly one of my favorite ROs. Um, and yeah, I mean that's something that's a huge thing, even just for me putting on matches. Like when we put on the Pro Series Championship, just walking around and seeing how people engage a stage differently really lets you as a shooter kind of learn. And someone might be doing something completely wrong. You'll never use their strategy, but it kind of puts you out of your, I wouldn't say comfort zone, but it makes you think differently about a stage. Like, that's interesting. Why they thought they could do the stage this way. Maybe I can build off of that, or maybe you're like, okay, hold on, I'm never going to do that. That's crazy. So I really wish more shooters would RO, Mark. But
I
it's a really
RO'd
cool
already
experience.
this year.
I know you did RO. You guys did the king of the 0.28 mile, but no, I mean. Yeah, I think definitely at ROing you see a lot of interesting things or things you can learn and improve on. So, but you're still a really good shooter though, JT. So I mean, honestly, I mean you could go to matches and still do phenomenal. So
well, I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm a competent shooter, but I'm not competitive. Uh, I have fun. I enjoy the community. I enjoy the sport. So as long as I'm having fun, which how can you not have fun at a Ruth and Justin match at night? Like,
They have
yeah,
killer music going too.
yep. For everyone that I've told about this match, I've recommended so many people to come to this match. But I literally tell them think like Halloween nightclub mixed with a match. Like
yeah,
it's literally a party.
yeah,
I mean, there is candy hanging from a freaking tent. I mean, like it's a party. It's like rave lights. It's a good time.
That's awesome.
It is honestly a really fun match to shoot. If you have the ability to make it to Minnesota next year for the Halloween match, make it. It is a
Fireworks.
blast.
and fireworks. I mean, how many matches?
I was gonna get there. I was gonna swing into that and be like, there's only one negative thing about the match: the fucking shitty guys who started a fire for the fireworks.
Look,
But
for people, first off, the fire was never an issue. Fireworks
I
weren't.
know,
And
literally,
furthermore, there's nothing out there to burn. So people kept making a big deal about it. Just let the fucker
I
burn.
heard it from so many squads and ROs. They're like,
People were
"Oh my God,
panicking.
there's a fire! There's a fire out there!" I'm like, "It's literally a cardboard box on fire in the middle of a field that's you're not gonna burn."
I went out
It's
there
fine.
and told Justin, I was like, it's probably gonna burn again. I was like, they just need to let it happen. They're like, it's an orange fire. I was like, there's a lot of fucking chemicals on that cardboard.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you guys want? Like,
So
next year
people
we're gonna
wondering,
try and do professional grade. We had a guy lined out. He decided to go hunting in Wyoming for a month when we were gonna get the fireworks from him. So next year we'll have it little more heads up. advance
So
notice.
for people wondering, Mark and I, Mark did it last year. This year I decided to pitch in. We do fireworks for the match, so we set up some pretty cool fireworks. Well, Mark, who's the company we bought fireworks from?
Star Fireworks in
Star Fireworks. If
Fargo.
you're ever in North Dakota, go to Fargo.
South of Fargo.
Actually, yeah, I heard you. Come to find out, you can't be a North Dakota resident and buy fireworks in North Dakota unless it's 4th of July, around 4th of July or around New Year's, which I thought it was hilarious. So us Montanans cleaned house and bought a bunch of fireworks there, and yeah, they treated us really well, hooked us up, and yeah, we got to put on a nice little fireworks show. I think it was.
Are you sure it was North Dakota or was it Minnesota she couldn't sell to?
No. I asked. Actually, I was going to tell you. Toward the end of the match, I was talking about that we're the ones that the fireworks to it got brought up, and he's like, "Oh, you guys do the fireworks?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, if you're ever in North Dakota, let me know." He goes, "I live in North Dakota. We can't buy fireworks unless it is 4th of July or New Year's." So he's like, it's only North Dakota residents. So if you live in Minnesota or anywhere else, they can sell to you. They just cannot sell to North Dakota residents unless it's around those times. So he's like, if you're ever in the area, I would buy, if you can buy some fireworks for me. I'm like, well, I mean, sure, I guess. So, but yeah, I thought that was interesting. Yeah, they can only sell to out of state, can't sell to North Dakota. So. But yeah, we lit off over 1,000 fireworks. I mean, I think each one of those 2 last finale bricks were 400 and something shells itself, and then we had like another shots. 200 shots. So it was a pretty good fireworks show. I think we can do better, Mark. I think we can do better. Did we go out there? I really never saw those the sparkly kind of willow looking ones. I don't think that ever went off, Mark.
That was the first one. It did go off.
Did it?
Yes.
I guess maybe I didn't.
They all went.
I was like, okay. I didn't see.
There were no mistakes.
After looking at you watching you wrap fuse and tape, I was like, all right, well this might fail. But it worked, I guess. So, all right. Anyways, back to the stages. So,
Molly, what was your least favorite stage?
Oh man.
Something you had to kneel on, I'm sure.
Yeah. I'm gonna guess the coffin, because that was all kneeling, and for me, kneeling is a big no-no. My knee was still healing up from my surgery, so.
Yep, I was gonna say, for you who don't know, Molly, you had what surgery did you have on your knee?
I had a
or what haven't you had?
I was gonna say.
Better question.
So basically, they had to go in and remove some rod, screws, and a couple nails. So it was just I had a nice big incision across my knee, and I believe I fractured my kneecap as well. So
you tore your
I remember walking.
I tore my meniscus. Yes.
I remember walking up to you and I was like, Molly, like, I think we're talking about how I had my knee pads on whatever. And I'm like, what are you like not looking forward to? You said something about kneeling. I'm like, oh, well, it's not that bad. Just get knee pads. And you're like, yeah, that doesn't help. Yeah. Knee pads aren't going to do anything. It's internal. My knees don't feel good. So,
yeah.
So yeah, actually when that stage, because that stage was there last year, but I think you could choose, right? You could sit last year. If I'm not mistaken.
I don't remember. However, I am short, so that was not an option for me either. If I would have been sitting, then I wouldn't have been able to.
Last year, the difference was that you could get out of the coffin.
Was it?
Yes, because I shot last year. I jumped out of the coffin, shot left-handed, one side, and then I jumped over the coffin and shot strong side. The rest of the stage, and then this time I was the only person to start with the coffin closed, and I blew out of it, did a 180. Ruth actually filmed that.
Wait, the 180 with your rifle, sir? That's a DQ right there.
I wanted to come out Desperado style, but she wouldn't let me. I shot left-handed on the first target, and then I switched to strong side and shot the rest, and I did clean that stage.
Nice. No, it was still a great stage. Very well planned out. The kneeling for me is not very good yet.
We get it, Molly. You're talking shit against Ruth. I'm gonna tell.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
JT, what was your favorite stage and worst stage?
Favorite stage was
least favorite.
Least favorite. I don't really think I had one.
It might not be because of the design. It might be just you didn't shoot well in that stage, or
there's a lot of stages I didn't shoot well on. Probably graveyard games.
I was gonna say, which one do you think you wish you could have a chance to redo and shoot again?
Graveyard games for sure. If I'd have had a mulligan, that would have been the one I would have used it on.
I think that's a better question to ask from now on.
Yeah.
Not the least favorite stage. Yeah. Which stage you could redo?
And that one, I went into it overconfident. Really poor bag selection. I should have ran my game changer, but I put a plate on instead. And it just didn't go as well as I wanted it to. I mean, crazy fun stage. No complaints on the stage design. I mean, it was 100% me. And for whatever reason on that stage, I rushed through it. So bad follow through. I mean, everything I could have done wrong, I did. I did that.
So you ran a plate on that stage. How did you get through the cross?
I never made it to the cross.
Oh, okay. I was like, hold on, how did that work? I'm like, did you break it? Did you just shove it through the cross?
The plan was if I had so I ended up timing out on that stage. If I would have made it to the center, I was just going to unscrew and drop the plate and then run it on through, but just couldn't get comfortable, couldn't get stable. It really is just a lot of me problems.
So for that stage, for people listening, so it's called the Graveyard Games. There's basically 3 tombstones. You could do them any order you want, but essentially you had to declare which one was your first, your second, your third. Basically, it was a small tombstone, and the middle one was tall, and the right one was kind of small again. And then the middle tombstone had a cross cut out through it. So essentially, you had to shoot from each target in the order of 19, 20, 21. So you basically went near to far, pretty close to it on the first one. Then you went to the next tombstone. I think you came far to near, and then you went to the third tombstone, went near to far again, and then with your last shot, you had to basically. I mean, the cross cutout in the center of the tombstone was not big. I know some people's rifles did not fit through it. Mine did, but basically the last shot you had to shoot the farthest target through the center spot of the cross in the center of the middle tombstone. It was a really fun stage. I actually really enjoyed that stage. I didn't run I just used a bag. I didn't have anything attached. Can't remember how well I did on that stage, but it was a really fun stage. Also, I forgot to say this at the very beginning. Most matches you guys go to are usually about a 2-minute timer. Or this match was not. It was what, a minute 30 or a minute 45. So it was a little bit shorter per stage. So you basically had to be really conscientious of the time. I know a lot of people, at least, I guess my squad didn't have too many timeouts, but I did notice that some people were timing out. Did you see that a lot at your stage, JT? I guess your stage probably wasn't.
Yeah, no, I don't. I think I had 2 of the younger U shooters that timed out. And then there may have been one other person that, there was one other person that had timed out.
So, I was going to say, I don't think that stage was really, or your stage wasn't really time crucial. But some of the other stages, like that stage, the graveyard stage, or the MPS barricade stage, those stages were pretty. For a minute 45, you had to be working. I mean, you really didn't have time to diddle daddle. Minute 45 is not a lot of time. So, what was your favorite?
Go into those with a plan.
Yeah,
like
really have to
what you want to do.
Yeah, and not only just have a plan, but have a plan and stick to that plan. Because a lot of people have a plan and then mid-stage go, I got to change my plan. This isn't working. It's like, if you do that with a minute 45, you can do it, but it's gonna hurt your time. I mean, you really kind of have to follow through with what your plan is and really hope it works. Yeah. So, and what was your favorite stage, JT?
Probably
you
the
can't pick
barrel.
your own stage.
Yeah, no, not my stage. The barrel stage was probably my favorite. I love stages where you go from strong to support side. This last year, I guess it was year before last, I had shot a stage that had support side, and I shot horribly. So like that was my biggest focus this last year of training, was just working on support side, and like I shot really well on the barrel stage. Uh, I think it was the clowns. Yes, it was definitely the clowns. And so you shot,
There was 2 targets.
yeah,
There was a left and a right, and they were a big swing.
and then you went from barrel to barrel, and every other barrel you would go support side, and it was just an easy transition. That entire stage flowed beautifully for me. So that was definitely my favorite, just because I got to really shine at something that I'd put a lot of effort into training for.
Yeah, a lot of shooters, I think, just the whole thing of strong sides, support side. A lot of people say strong side, weak side, because a lot of people do not practice their support side. And I actually agree with you. I really love support side stages. That was another really fun stage. Again, I think that stage, there wasn't a lot of game plan involved. It was kind of flowed really well, but you really did have to manage your time, because that 5 position swapping back and forth from strong side support side, definitely, if you fell behind on time, you could definitely easily time out on that stage. So yeah, that actually was a really fun stage as well. I kind of forgot about that stage actually until you
Yeah.
just said that.
Yeah. Probably a second favorite stage.
Mark, your favorite?
Actually, for me, it was the barrels as well. I think that was stage 3. I like any stage that's skill based, so that one is multiple skills. It's movement, and it's managing your support and strong side. I think I ended up finishing it with like 20 seconds left, and I cleaned it. And then I was happy because Todd Anderson was ROing that stage,
Yep.
and I cleaned it, and I had let him down at the summer match when I dropped the last shot, and I told him I was going to clean it.
Redemption.
Um,
And what would be your either least favorite, or a stage you maybe want to redo?
so,
chance to shoot
oddly
again?
enough, it was the next. I had shot it first before the barrels, but it was the other support side stage, the MPS barricade. Jason Jurish was the RO, and I did fine on the stage. I shot 8 rounds. I got 8 impacts on the small target. What I didn't like about it is I needed to be able to move faster, but to do that, I would have had to get uncomfortably close to flagging Jason, who was sitting directly to the right of the barricade. So you just, because you had to come in and out straight as opposed to being able to go around the barricade. So it just took more time to maneuver on that one. That was my only issue. It's not even a complaint. It's just that I wanted to run it faster, and I actually spent more time being conscious of Jason directly to my right so that I didn't flag him.
What would be your most favorite stage, or the stage you like the best?
That was the first one we talked about.
The barrels.
The barrels.
Oh, sorry, I forgot you said you
Yeah.
double like that. Sorry. I think.
Amateur.
Well, I forget you both talked about it, so I was thinking something different. So for me, I honestly think all the stages were great. If I had to pick my favorite, I think it was the MPS barricade, which it was actually it was my worst stage of the day. It was also the stage I wish I could redo. I did fine, strong side. That was actually also the stage where you could choose your points, wasn't it?
No, you had to go left to right. So you started top left, then you went top right, then
But I
you went
thought there was 2
bottom right.
targets. Which one was the one you got to
No,
pick?
you had 2 targets, but you couldn't
Yes.
pick
Only
your
shot at one of the
positions.
targets, I believe.
Correct, but they were sorry. You pick your points. Like it wasn't worth
Yes.
different. Yeah.
Because one
So-
target was worth 7 and another one was worth 10, I believe.
Yep. So on that stage, I started off.
Did you shoot the big target?
I shot the small ones, and I ended up having an issue when I went to the support side, and I couldn't hit anything, and which was bothersome to me because I actually did pretty well on the other one that you went support side. So I said, screw it, I'm just gonna go for the small targets, and I ended up with a 51. I literally think I think I hit like, God, I didn't hit much. I think I didn't even hit much of the big targets or the small targets. It was not a good stage. I ended up exhaling into my scope, which I told everyone to not do that. And I fogged up my scope on that stage, which was a nightmare because I literally had to take time to clean it off. And then somehow the front of my scope was fogged. And yeah, that stage I really wish I had a chance to redo because it was a really fun stage design. And I really wish I had the opportunity to reshoot that one again. And then the other one I guess I would really want to reshoot was the other one I did bad on, which is the giant pumpkin. I will take credit for it because I guess I didn't read the match description beforehand, but the ROs did say just shoot the mover, and I never shot the bonus stage, or the side stages, so I didn't know that the pumpkin wasn't the target. So when I came up to the stage, was cleaning it, hit the pumpkin, and they didn't count my points on the pumpkin. I was wondering why they weren't calling impacts. It was kind of an awkward pause. No one said anything why. And then, yeah, all 4 shots on my pumpkin I don't think counted. So I ended up getting a 6 out of 10. So a little bummed. I didn't realize there was a white target above the thing, but that was another really fun stage. I really like that one as well. So, and it's always fun shooting a mover. It's not like every match you get to go to has a mover. So even though they're not, I mean, I guess they are skill based, but I don't know. It's kind of a fun little gimme stage to me, movers, but they're just, I love them. They're fun to shoot. So that would probably be one of my other favorite stages, but one I wish I could redo.
Well, I mean, something we can go into because JT brought it up is shooting support side. So what I notice why people struggle with that a lot is you forget your fundamentals. You still apply the fundamentals, and a lot of times you'll apply them better than your strong side because you're focusing on them more. But what I'm referring to is what you forget about your fundamentals is people will try to get a sight picture before they address the target. So when you normally shoot, you square yourself to the target, to the prop, you address the rifle to your shoulder, you get a good cheek weld, and then you get your sight picture. A lot of people will try and do it reverse, and then that's why you see a lot of people struggle or why they don't enjoy support side stages is because they try to get that sight picture. They don't have a good cheek weld, the shoulder's not in their, or the stock is not in their shoulder properly, and then they're not even square to the target or the prop. They're kind of hunched over to the left. And I tell everybody whenever they want some tips on how to shoot support side, I tell them, look, all you have to do is address the rifle the exact same way you do strong side. So it's like put it in your shoulder, get your cheek weld, and then boom, your eye's already there. I always recommend backing the magnification off just a little more than you would shoot strong side.
There it
but
is.
That's just to help your weaker eye get a bigger eye box.
I was about to say the same exact thing. Every time I swap to sports side, I like to back it up a little bit. I mean, I
go from 22 to like 18, so it's not much, but it makes a difference.
Oh, for me, I go down to like 15, 12. I mean, I think that was a big thing you'd mentioned in a different podcast, Mark, about, you and Jason like to kind of stay farther back, more, less zoomed in on a lot of stages. And that's something I think, especially for a night match. No, you guys were talking about you guys stay less zoomed in.
No, I usually shoot around 22, 20 to 25.
Yeah, that's exactly where I'm at, 20 to 25. And then
I think you got it backwards. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you have it backwards. And what I'll usually tell you shooters is pretty much exactly what Mark said. First thing out of the gate is if you normally run your magnification at, say 20, back it down to 15, get solid on the prop, and before you put your head on that rifle, look down range and make sure your weapon is pointed towards that target. So when you do get behind your rifle, it should be in your field of view. Then adjust your magnification to whatever it is you like, and then go through the same process. And just like Mark said, you have to do the same fundamentals that you do shooting normal. And for whatever reason, for a lot of shooters, doing it support side throws everything into chaos, and the fundamentals just fall apart. And that's usually how the stage ends for them.
I think the big fear that people get stuck in their head is they think it's going to be like throwing a ball with your left hand, and it's not even similar to that. It's really not that hard to shoot support side. I think JT did a really good job describing kind of how to do it. I agree. It's for me, it's more of just maybe kicking back your zoom a little bit, making sure you're pointing your rifle onto the general area of the target, and then working back into your comfort zone, and zooming back in and ready to go. But so many people get so scared of it. Like, I mean, I'll put it into like one of my monthly match stages, and people are like, "Oh, support side, or weak side, that's so hard." And I'm like, "But it's really,
people definitely overthink it."
Yeah, exactly. There's so many people who get to that and think it's going to be this impossible challenge, and it's not. I mean,
But
your fundamentals have to really come into place.
Yeah, shooting is.
I love when people tell me that they don't like. Well, I don't have a range that I can go practice at. You need a bedroom.
Yeah,
I mean, if you've got a window you can look out, you don't even need your bolt in the rifle. You can literally set up a kitchen chair or whatever out a window, pick something that you're choosing to be your target, and build a position, get into it, support side, and learn how that is supposed to feel.
They make a product owned, or DST makes a product that you can use to practice in your house. It's called a DFAT. I know you guys all know about it, but yeah, if you guys don't know, check out DST Precision. He makes something called the DFAT. Basically allows you to threads onto your scope and allows you to get down, or lets your scope parallax get down to what, like 15 feet or 10. It's something really
15 feet.
Yeah, 15 feet. I actually picked up two of them at the match. Troy was there, and yeah, me and my girlfriend now have two DFATs that we're gonna start using in the house. Especially with her.
We love our DFAT systems.
Yes, they are wonderful.
So Molly, you obviously have used it. How has it really helped you? I mean, what using the DFAT? What skills do you think has helped you improve?
Stability for sure. Finding, I guess, what positions, like if you're inside, since I believe for us, it's gotten like the winters have gotten really bad down here sometimes.
Yes,
obviously,
very bad. As we're talking about a snowstorm.
Yeah, so we're not gonna go outside and shoot. So we do it inside as what it's meant for. So it has really given me the opportunity to just learn how to better myself with my rifle.
Yeah, I think definitely practicing your fundamentals, or just building fundamentals, is a huge benefit with the DFAT. I think, again, my girlfriend really hasn't had a chance to run it yet, but I mean, one, you get to run your rifle. So, I mean, dry firing, running the bolt. I mean, watching Molly run a Bergara bolt, my biggest complaint with Bergara has always been their bolt. So that's actually the reason I still like Bergara, but that's the reason why I swapped away from Bergaras, because I wasn't a fan of how stiff their bolt was. But watching Molly run that bolt is ridiculous. Molly, you run that thing like a machine. It's very impressive. You can definitely tell how many hours you have behind that rifle, because you know that rifle inside and out. But yeah, I mean, just the ability to run your rifle inside, which I guess you could, regardless of having a DFAT, but being able to actually practice, check your sight picture, get on a target. He sells, I think they're free, the papers. You can print out the little courses of fire that you can do, put up on your wall. But yeah, if you guys haven't checked out the DFAT, check it out. This isn't a sponsored thing or anything like that. Just it's DST makes a pretty cool product.
Yeah, it's really easy to sponsor or get behind a product that just works.
Yeah. I mean, this podcast is not sponsored by anyone, but yeah, I mean, it's just a really cool. No, if WeBat, okay, Mark, there's my deal. You get WeBat to sponsor this podcast, I'll stop bringing up Armageddon gear. I'll make you that deal right now. Until then, I'm gonna still bring up Armageddon gear. But no, like I said, we're not sponsored by DST, but like I said, he makes a really good product. The DFAT is awesome. I think he posts the monthly course of fire for the NRL, if I'm not mistaken, or at least he posts. There is course of fire that are out there that you can download and print out. But it's pretty cool. It's a really cool product. I need to now build a barricade that I can deploy in our house, so we can start getting some practice inside. I'm not lucky enough like the Halls over here, who have basically a shooting shack and a full 200-yard range in their backyard. They can practice anytime they want, but yeah, this DFAT kind of lets me practice indoors, so it's a pretty cool product, guys. Check it out. Enough with the sponsored, non-sponsored. What were we talking about before the DFAT? I just blanked.
Support side.
Yeah. Do you guys ever practice support side indoors? Or is that kind of something that you typically just do when you're out in the range?
So I normally, I guess we normally, because we normally practice together, we'll pick 3 skill sets that we want to work on that day. So whether it be support side, really focusing on a fundamental is going to be part of our daily practice. So yeah, I guess that would be the biggest things is we try to pick 2 or 3 skills that we want to work on, and we just hammer that one thing. So if it's building a position, we'll build it, tear it down, build it until it's just second nature that we can get through that, fluidly.
Yeah, that's something. I mean, that's something I would really like to be able to do, is start practicing more often. I mean, I shoot quite a bit of matches, but there's a difference between doing something in a match and actually practicing when you're not shooting a match. I mean, I feel like
there's less stress when you're just at home working on it.
Yeah, exactly. I think
you're not under as much pressure.
Exactly. I feel like you learn more too. Like a match, yes, you learn different stages and you kind of learn how to do things differently, but you kind of have to know your rifle. And if you're not practicing and you don't really take the time to learn your rifle, it definitely shows. I mean, look at the night match is a perfect example. A lot of people who don't really know their rifle, I mean, a lot of them don't do well at those night matches because, you shoot a match and all of a sudden now you cut all the light. You better really understand your rifle with your eyes closed because it's dark. Yes. I mean, you have headlamps on, but
they can only help you so much.
Exactly. They don't help as much as you people think. I mean, the photos from these matches look like the whole place was lit up with the sun of red and green lights. I mean, like super bright lights. It really isn't bright. That match is very dark. Phone exposures make everything look a lot brighter than it actually is. The match was very dark on multiple stages, like the MPS barricade and stuff like that. It was almost hard to see the prop. So, you had to use your headlamp and almost look where you're going. So, light is a huge factor. So if you don't know your rifle at a match like a night match, it really is going to show. So, yeah.
Well, it's not just your rifle that you need to know; it's your equipment. So, like the few times I have worked with Molly, is like how to move faster, how to grab your bag, how to put your bag onto a prop, like how I hold it in my hand. And I've shown you this; I'll show anybody. It's like how I hold it in my hand is just faster on when I get to my prop.
It's been a huge help to me watching you instead of grabbing a wee bad bag by like the strap. Or grabbing any bag by the strap. Instead of doing that, I mean, watching you and this is when I was just beginning shooting, watching you just all of a sudden have the whole bag in your hand. I'm like, actually, that's a way better idea. Why am I holding it from a strap where I have to kind of fling it up and it's not going to land exactly where I want it? We're just having that bag in your hand, setting it down, building your position. I mean, just a lot of stuff like that is very crucial. And you're right, like learning your gear is very important.
Well, and that's the one thing that I've noticed the most when watching exceptionally talented shooters, whether it be Mark or Tyler Worth or Jason Anderson, every movement has a purpose. That there's no wasted time fiddling with getting the bag in the right position.
I'm patting the top of that bag.
Yeah. I mean, Mark sets his bag one time and shoots from it. And obviously he's doing well with it. I mean, granted, 8th place, getting beat by Shane.
I love how you three got beat by Shane because, like, I am not an amazing shooter, so that just makes it even better.
You know, I have to say, watching you after that match, when you found out that you had outshot Mark,
I was ecstatic.
You would have thought you had taken first place by 40 impacts.
Oh, I crushed it.
People didn't understand what he was talking about. They didn't understand the inside joke him and I were having. Wait, Shane's going around. He's like, I beat Mark. I won this match, and people are like, wait, you weren't even on the podium.
Oh yes, he was.
I literally.
I won.
Yeah, I literally said I won this match, and I was walking by someone. And someone's like, "Wait, what? What? No, you like." It was so generally confused. They thought, like, "What's this guy talking about?"
Teresa Jurish, and then she just flat out said it to me. She's like, "He shot bad." And I was like, "I know." I'm aware.
I am that average shooter that had one of the best matches of his life, and I'll probably never happen again. But to me, this match will go down in history books for years to come as the match that I beat Mark. The only outdoor I've beaten Mark one other time. It was an indoor match, 50 feet match.
Indoor match.
This is the first match I've ever beaten Mark outside.
It was paper scoring with weird scores.
Oof.
It's Tom Patrick style.
So, Shane, can I ask you something?
Yeah.
So when you shoot a match and say you have one stage that whatever the obstacle was, you do really poorly on. When you walk away from that stage, is it your intention to do something to get better at whatever that skill set was?
Yes.
Or do you just wait until you get to the next match and hope you don't have to shoot that again?
So I'm in a very unique situation. I know I've kind of talked with you guys about this before, and most people listen to podcasts. Well, maybe not. Might have some other people just from the NRL. But so I run something called the Precision Rimfire Outlaw Series, which is similar to kind of like the NRL, but we're just in Montana, Wyoming, South Dakota, and Idaho. So, and I'm also the match director for the Billings Club. So I host monthly matches. So I have the luxury of when I go to a match and shoot a stage that I did poorly on, I will not only try to then take that stage, maybe not use the same stage, recreate it in kind of my own style, but same prop or kind of very similar, and then put it into one of my own matches, and then try to practice on it, and then also like almost master it. So I kind of have a little bit of a luxury of doing that. Most people don't have the luxury of being able to have access to a lot of cool props. But yeah, I mean, like, I'll shoot a match and I'll have a stage that I did poorly on, and I try to recreate it at home or at my home range and try to basically master it, improve it. Or improve on that skill. So, like, I used to be terrible at support side, and I got crushed at an NRL. Actually, I think it was the Halloween match last year. And that was my first ever NRLX match outside of Montana. I went to the Badlands Brawl, and then I traveled to Ruth and Justin's Halloween match last year. Had a support side stage, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
And then basically came back and was like, well, I suck. I did very bad at that match. To be fair, that was like really early on in my shooting. Again, not really career, but when I started shooting. And so yeah, I just broke it down like I'm gonna be good at support side. And then, I went to a match in Utah, and I realized my time management was poor. So that was another thing I started working on is, all right, how do I be more smooth? And I was lucky to have Mark. He used to be in Montana, now he isn't, but he used to come to our matches. So I would squad with Mark and watch how he would do a stage and then copy it. And then basically learn, like, all right, how is Mark utilizing his time compared to I'm using my time? Like, I would shoot a stage first and go, well, okay, I ran out of time where I did this and this and this, and I had 5 seconds left. Then I would watch Mark, and he would do it with 30 seconds left. And I was like, well, he did that way smoother than I did, and just watch how he did it. So I've been very lucky. I say a lot of shooters probably don't have the same opportunity when it comes to our opportunity that I've had, but I really think that like you said, like building or practicing what you did bad at a match really helps. It really benefits.
Yes.
I mean, I'm kind of assuming you guys kind of do the same thing where you guys will go to a match and then after, you guys try to break it down as well. I feel like a lot
So
of
we have a full AAR after every match, and we talk about what went right, what went wrong,
What we could do better, we can improve on.
Yeah, I mean, was there a single skill set that you absolutely bombed? I mean, was it a time stressor? Was it the way the prop was set up? I mean, and whatever that problem was, we'll bring home and recreate and work on it.
Yeah, so I mean, again, for people like if this is your first podcast listening, I only started shooting like in general, like never touched a gun in my life until maybe 3.5, 4 years. I first gun I shot was like a pistol, never shot like a bolt gun. I got my first 22, I think either right before COVID. I think it was right before COVID, like November before COVID, and then out of the blue, a buddy of mine was like, "Hey, I want to start an NRL22 club. Um, I need someone else to come to this board meeting with me for a local gun range. Can you just stand there?" And basically, I was like, "Sure." So I stood there. He got it approved. He put on his first match. I went out and shot that match. Did terrible, but was like, "Holy shit, this was fun." And since then it's kind of exploded into this addiction of shooting 22s and shooting, really, I mean, centerfire as well, but this PRS, precision rifle shooting or whatever you want to call it, it's turning this
rifle, yeah.
precision rifle. It's turned into basically an addiction, and yeah, I love it. I mean, this is a blast, and I really try to get better and better. And I still think I have a different mindset than Mark and a lot of the top shooters. Like I'm not saying Mark doesn't do it for fun, but they're more in the mindset of
I enjoy winning.
Yes, Mark is definitely the mindset of win. I'm here just to have a good time. I'm a jokester. I love having fun, laughing, meeting people, talking with people, having a good time. Doesn't mean I don't get sour and become a little sour puss if I do bad, but I'm really in the mindset of having a good time. So I definitely am refining my skills and getting better, I think, but my approach to this is a little different. I'm more of the, like, if I could honestly, I could see myself in, 10, 15 years having a kid and be in the same situation you are, JT, where like, ROing matches and giving my kid the chance to shoot. Like that's something I could see myself doing.
That's great.
I think that is something to be awesome. I mean,
and to say that, like, we owe our entire relationship to shooting.
Yeah.
And I mean, to be more specific, we kind of owe our relationship at this point to Ruth.
Yeah.
We were shooting. We had shot a couple 2-gun matches. We shot a pistol match together.
Yep.
And like nothing was really clicking because like I didn't know really what was going on. And the 2-gun, the competitors were overly competitive.
Yeah, ruthless.
It was pretty rough. And then we went out to the range one day and Molly had built this big shooting bench that she wanted to donate to Rush Lake. So we took it out there and it just happened to be the day before Ruth and Justin's summer match. So Ruth invited us. So we borrowed a 22, put a scope on it, zeroed it that day, and she shot her first match the next day. And we've been addicted. I mean, no.
What year was this?
That would have been 2019, 20.
Okay, so pretty close around the same time that I started.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, it's really actually funny. So people, before this podcast started, JT and Molly were trying to get this podcast to work on their phones and computer, and listening to them talk to each other was the most funniest thing in the world. It could be literally sold as a TV show of them literally like bantering back and forth about trying to get this tech to work.
It was like comical. Last year when we had dinner at their house.
Oh yeah, when you guys invited us to dinner last year after the night. Was it after the night match last year? No, it was after the summer match, right?
I think it was after the summer match.
Yeah.
No, because actually Devin came to the summer match, so it had
you didn't go to the summer match. Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
it wasn't after the night match. Oh well, Okay, so there was
It
the
was
polar vortex. It was the polar vortex.
It was the
match.
polar vortex match. Yep.
It was the polar
Yep.
vortex.
Yep. That's right. It was the polar vortex match. Because that's right. There was snow in your guys' yard and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean the same exact thing. You guys are a comical, father daughter. I swear we need to make you guys into a TV show. It is like it's gonna be a reality show. The Halls, keeping up with the Halls, but it was just comical to listen to you, and I can tell you guys have a really good relationship together. And that's awesome that
He's
shooting.
my best friend.
You see it too
Aw.
at a match, and watching you two together is awesome. So it's really cool to see you guys and shooting with you guys. That's why I love coming to Minnesota. I mean, a lot of people who shoot this, pro series who probably listen to this podcast, none of them really have traveled really to any big NRLX matches. And I highly would recommend if you have the opportunity to go to Minnesota, or not even have the opportunity, make the opportunity and come to a Minnesota match that Ruth and Justin put on. It is probably one of the you won't. It's probably one of the most funnest matches you'll ever go to. It's a good time. Everyone's great. The competition's tough, but it's fun. It's a great atmosphere. You're gonna meet people like JT and Molly, and that's kind of one of the coolest things I think about the shooting sport and is our community. I mean, I've shot some action sports shooting and I've shot in some speed pistol shooting and stuff like that, and they're nice people, and I wouldn't talk negative about it, but there's something about this NRL or PRS or Pro Series kind of 22 long rifle shooting where the community is just amazing. It makes this
more welcomed.
It is like if anyone who's listening to this who's never shot a match, I don't know how you would find this podcast, but let's say you did, go find your local match or NRL match or whatever, and just show up and watch, and I guarantee you within the first 10 minutes someone will probably hand you a gun and some gear and be like, here, try the stage out. I mean, the amount of people, exactly, like you guys said, like the amount of people I've had come to one of my matches and they're like, oh, I'm here just to watch, and then all of a sudden they're trying out the stage, and then all of a sudden they shot the whole day, and then all of a sudden they're at Shields or a gun store buying a gun, and then all of a sudden they're there every single month. It's a crazy community, and it's just awesome. So
fun loving. It's a fun loving community.
It is. Yes. It is. All right, let's pause for 2 seconds. Mark disappeared.
All right.
We can almost end it here too. It's been an hour and 38 minutes. Let's see who's coming back. Yeah, you guys are comical. It is literally hilarious. You guys are awesome. It was, obviously great meeting you guys at these matches, and I mean, I just really wish more people would travel. I mean, it sucks that people from Montana don't like coming out to other places, but it's just so fun. Minnesota is by far the best match that I've ever been to. Ruth and Justin.
Yeah, they're pretty great.
Yeah. For whatever reason, the stars aligned when Ruth and Justin started putting on matches, because they are the most talented match directors that I've RO'd for. And I've RO'd a lot of matches, and everything is thought out so methodically and so perfectly. It's almost impossible to not have a good time.
No, exactly. I mean, even like I think with their summer match, some people said that there was a couple critiques against that match, and it really wasn't much, but people were kind of complaining because maybe it was too easy for some of the higher shooters because they put bigger targets out, and it's like even with that stuff happening at a match director's never going to make it perfect, but they think everything through where, maybe that summer match was a little easy for the higher end shooters, but for everyone else, it was the perfect difficulty. So like they really think a match through, and, again, it might not be catered to the high end shooters, but it's catered to everyone's going to shoot that match, have a good time, and find the match challenging but fun. And
like they even go the extra mile on every target has 3 targets for that individual target. So if your win bracket is bigger, it's not taller. So if it's a 2-inch target, it's still 2 inches, but it'll get wider to make it fair across the board. So even if you're shooting in really high wind, they'll put a wider target up. I mean, who else does that?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
normally if it's a 2-inch target, it's just a 2-inch target. And if it's a 25-mile-an-hour gust of wind, well, better luck next time.
Yeah, most people don't realize that. When I went out and put the fireworks out, I noticed that, and I've never seen that before, and most people really can't see that. But yeah, what JT was saying, that they have targets out there sitting next to the targets that are hung up just on the ground, just in case before the match, if the wind picks up like crazy and it's always going to be a super windy day, they can literally run out there and just swap to like the B target or, whatever, which is just a great idea. I mean, if you've never had, if you're a match director and listening to this, check out Ruth and Justin's match director's handbook. A very, 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 very good, well thought out handbook that is really catered to the match director. And well, I mean, it is a match director's handbook, but it really shows you how to put on a good match, and it breaks things down to super good detail. And basically, they thought of everything except night matches. I don't think they have night matches in there, and I brought that up to Justin. I think they are going to put night matches in there, but it's thought of everything. I mean, it has target size for distance, weather conditions, just fundamentals about how to put on a match, yada yada. They've done a very, really good job.
Yeah, I mean, I could honestly say there's 2 matches every year that I absolutely look forward to ROing, and it's anything Ruth and Justin do and Brian Autry's King of Point 2.8.
Yeah, that's one match I have not made yet, is the King of the Point 2.8 mile, which I'll need to eventually make.
Oh, it's a hoot.
That's absolutely amazing.
Brian is evil.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I was a little bummed. I actually was going to go that match, and then I found out that Mark and all the guys were going to RO the match. So I was like, oh shit, I'll RO. And then the match was full of ROs. So I was like, well shit, I'll be on the wait list. And then since I was on the wait list, someone asked if I would put on a hunter match. In Billings, we put on a 2-man team hunter match. So 22 LR, basically the same format as a normal match, but it's basically a 1.5-mile course where there's start times. You start and have to hike the whole trail, shooting stages throughout the trail, and it's a whole timed event. Really cool event, but the match director had to pull out last second, so he had me put it on. So I said I would do it, and then literally the next day, I got a message from, I think it was Brian Autry, saying, oh yeah, by the way, I have a spot if you want to RO. And I'm like, well, great. I just agreed to do something different. So I was like, sorry, I really wanted to, but I got dragged into something else. So, but I really want to make it next year. But actually, another thing I was going to mention on, you guys had brought up that you guys were practicing before the night match.
Yep.
Another benefit that I have is I'm a match director. Like I've said, I put on a night match the week before the night match. So I had practice as well. So I actually shot a full night match the week before. I did it more for the girlfriend. She's never shot at night before. And I knew taking her to a night match and just saying best of luck would be a very bad idea. I would definitely not be a good day for me or her. So I put on a night match the week before and had her, get comfortable with the rifle.
Well, I think the biggest thing that people have to remember, if you're bringing a newer shooter, or if you're bringing your wife or you're bringing your daughter, keep it fun. Yes. Don't get worked up if they're not doing everything perfect. As long as they're having fun, don't want to work more at it. I have seen more new shooters get discouraged because someone was grumbling at them for not doing everything perfect. And it's like you're kind of cutting your own throat by making this miserable for them, because they're not going to want to come back. So if you're that guy that's bringing your wife for the first time, keep it fun, keep it light, give her pointers where you can, and move on. I mean, not every stage is going to be fantastic. Well, and I think one of the best things you can do for a new shooter is get them signed up for a course. Yeah. Get them signed up for a course to learn the fundamentals, and then let them grow their skill set from there. That's the one thing that I wished I saw more people promoting, was take a class. I mean, Ruth and Justin have Midwest Precision Shooting, and they will give you one-on-one instructions on anything from the fundamentals to how to attack a specific barricade, if that's what you want to work on. I mean, we invest thousands and thousands of dollars into gear. Why wouldn't you be willing to invest a few $100 into some training
to learn how to really use that gear?
Yeah, to learn how to utilize what you have.
Oh no, that you brought that's an amazing point. I mean, like, I guess maybe that's a bad analogy, but like, everyone that really you get your driver's license, you learn how to drive, you buy a car, but you want to be a race car driver. You're not just going to go out there and start driving a race car. I mean, you're going to
Right.
take classes or learn from someone. So the same thing goes for
Or
shooting.
build up.
Exactly. I mean, I've never taken a class per se, but I think the reason why I haven't is because I'm lucky enough to have like people like Mark and other high level shooters that I've been able to kind of partner up with and go to matches with, and not really have them be my mentor, but kind of shadow them in a sense. But yeah, I mean, like you're like right for like a girlfriend or someone who maybe wants to come with their significant other to a match, or let's say a child, or someone's kid that wants to come to a match, right, why not spend a little bit of money and have them get a lesson and get trained and learn. And I would love the ability to do that. I know Ruth and Justin put on a phenomenal course. I know there's some center fire ones out by me here in Montana, Wyoming, modern day sniper, who put on courses. They're more for center fire, but yeah, I think
But
taking
the
a course.
fundamentals are the fundamentals, and big
Correct.
plus
So
John is.
right, I know. I think Chris Simmons has put on some. I mean, there's
Yep.
a lot of guys who put on, and that's a really good point. I really never thought about that, having a significant other or something like that take a class and learn. Maybe I know. Again, it's a trek for us to make it to Minnesota on a regular basis, but maybe I'll reach out to Ruth and Justin and see maybe next time they have a girls' day at the range. I know you guys do that out there quite a
Yep.
bit. Have like a maybe see if I can, like, because my mom lives not too far from there. Maybe make a trip out of it and have Devin go to one of these classes
Yep.
and learn, because
It's Ruth.
you know
Yep, Ruth, Teresa Jurish, and I believe Michelle Schroeder. They do a ladies class, so it's going to be less pressure. I think, anyways, when it's like if it's just a group of ladies, it can be some less pressure, um, for some of the females.
I agree.
I would say I'm not even a woman, and I agree in that huge. I mean, just knowing my girlfriend, where I can't watch her back into a garage because she thinks it's too much pressure. I definitely think that me next to her definitely caused a lot of pressure. So having her go to a class, especially an all ladies class, would be a huge benefit to her. So that's something definitely we'll have to reach out to Ruth about, because that would be a really cool experience. So. Molly, you need to start putting on some classes. You're crushing it in the youth division. We need to start seeing you teach some classes.
Oh, I'd love to.
She actually does.
Yeah.
Well, she doesn't teach classes, but we go to a lot of shoots, and she'll work with younger shooters before the match on how to get into a stable position. I mean, it's fantastic watching that kid work with younger kids to get them into this sport, because once it clicks and you see that light bulb go off, oh man.
I was working with this one little girl. Her mom brought her out, and I believe it was her first time ever shooting a rifle in general. And she was so excited when she got her first impact. Like, she smiled so big. She got up and ran to her mom. I hit it. It was the best thing. Her excitement was absolutely amazing.
I wish we had more U shooters in our club, but we have a few. But it's really cool watching a U shooter, or even any new shooter, just get really excited over getting impacted and getting in the sport. And there's people out there who like, oh, I don't really like competition, and I don't really want to shoot this. I'd rather just go shoot at the range. I'm like, that's fine and dandy, and you can do that, but you don't have to make this competition a competition. You can just go out and have a good time, and it is so much fun. Even if you're shooting just against yourself, ignore everyone else, just shoot against yourself and have a good time and see what you can do. It is so fun. It is awesome. So yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I remember when we shot the Polar Vortex match together, Molly. Just again, watching you run that Bergara bolt blew me away. I generally did not know that you were. I knew you were Team Bergara, obviously, but I was like, she's not shooting a Bergara. There's no way she's shooting Bergara, because that's like, I mean, again, I have a B14R. I like my B14R. My own, and again, all the top, I've talked about this on the podcast before, all the top guns have problems. You have Rimex, who has, extractor issues. You have Voodoo that has mag issues. You have Bergara that has bolt issues. They all have an issue. But that was the toughest part for me, was that bolt was, just a little too
Heavy.
stiff and
It's
heavy.
a heavy bolt.
and watching Molly just like run it like it's nothing.
Oh my God.
And see,
there's no way that's a Bergara.
Rifle.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean,
What's
I've put a lot of rounds. I put a lot of rounds through my Bergara, and I know that rifle better than I do because I still can't. And I've done. I think you guys have swapped bolts, right? You're not running the stock bolt, so you swap the bolt.
Nope, she
handle,
is
right?
running her stock rifle.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have a different bolt handle on there?
She does not. She is running
I
the
did not know
factory Bergara bolt handle.
Jesus, yeah. I have a different bolt handle on it, and I have the different spring and bolt shot on that gun, and I still can't. I mean, I can run it good, obviously, but I mean, like, you run it like a machine. It is literally just assembly. I mean, you're just perfect every time, and it's you don't pull your rifle. Your gun stays very level when you work it, and it's very impressive to watch you run that Bergara. So it's awesome to see that you're on a team Bergara and have the ability to shoot for a team at such a young age. It's hopefully Team USA, Molly. I want to see. Let's see you go to Italy.
Oh, I'd love that. I would absolutely love that.
Well, we're hoping this next year is going to be her comeback tour.
Yeah.
It's been a rough year and a half of surgeries and injuries and re-injuries and more surgeries.
Yeah.
I was gonna say from the time I met you, I think you've only shot the summer match.
Yep.
And you shot the Polar Vortex match.
Yep.
I think other than that, the Halloween match last year you didn't shoot, right? You think you were just there.
I believe I RO'd.
You RO'd. Okay, that's right.
And I tried to shoot the match before, but I believe I got my rod put in about 2 months before that in my leg.
Yeah, because I think. Well, every time I see you, you're like, look at this scar, and like you show your shoulder, and then you show your leg, and then you like every time it seems like you have another surgery, Molly. We need to
We're done with surgeries.
Oh, I'm done. I'm good. I've had my 5 or 6.
Yeah, we're done with surgeries, and now we're just going to work forward on having a hell of a good year next year.
JT, I'm gonna start a GoFundMe. We're gonna get you guys a ginormous hamster bubble, those huge like inflatable. We're just gonna keep Molly in that every day unless you shoot in a match. Molly, you're just gonna live in a bubble.
So many people say that they're gonna do that for me. Bubble wrap, get you in one of the hamster balls.
You're like, I mean, I'm a gamer nerd, but like any sporting game that has like a trait next to a player, you're definitely the player that says injury prone next to it.
Yes.
Every time it's like Molly, she's hurt. Great. All right. Next match, Molly hurt. It's like, God damn it, Molly.
I know.
Well, thank you guys. Oh, actually, the last thing I always do is, again, prizes aren't important, but it is really cool to say thanks to the sponsors. So, one, thank you to all the sponsors at the Monster Match. There was a lot. And also, what did you guys get off the prize table?
Well, I took a AccuTac bipod. I love it. I'm actually going to run it at a centerfire match this weekend. I've been working with it all week. And then my wife took a bar stool from, I believe it was the Modern Sportsman. Yes, it was the Modern Sportsman was the outlet that donated that.
Was that the Federal?
She ended up getting the Hy-Vee. It's like an old shotgun.
Okay, yep.
Had a pheasant on it, and yeah, I mean, super cool to see some different stuff at a match.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was what a fantastic prize table. I mean, phew.
Oh yeah, I actually was gonna take. I mean, I only reason why I pulled the Voodoo cert off when I did is one, I was surprised it was still on there. I mean, it was only It was not only, but it was $600 off of Voodoo Action, which is a good chunk. And the only reason why I grabbed it was because I just got a Voodoo, and my girlfriend was shooting a 10-22. She tried running the Bergara. For her, she just wasn't really super comfortable with it, so she's been running my Voodoo, and she loves it. So now. I'm actually giving her my Voodoo, and then I'm ordering a Voodoo with a little bit longer of a barrel. So she'll have a Voodoo of her own now. So I ended up pulling that off the table. Thank you. And I sent a huge email to Greg and those guys over there at Voodoo. They do a phenomenal job, and thank them. But no, what you're saying about sorry, off topic, but I actually was going to pull one of those bar stools off the table. That was actually a really cool prize.
Yes.
For people listening, they had a full-on bar stool chair, like not cheap ones, like nice, heavy-duty bar stool chairs.
Yes,
Um,
definitely heavy duty.
Yeah, on the prize table with like I think some of them said Federal on it, and a couple other like brands and stuff. But it was awesome. I would have grabbed those from like my office or my gun room. Like that's awesome.
Yes.
That's a really cool little prize. And then Molly, I already know what you got, but go ahead and tell everyone. I was actually going to take what you were going to get off the prize table, but you grabbed it for me, you jerk. But go ahead and tell everyone what you got.
I grabbed a lab radar, which I was so stoked about because you do not see those on prize tables often.
I have never seen a lab radar on the table, and I saw that there, and I was like, "That is mine." And I saw you walk up, and you grabbed it. I'm like, "Son of a gun, Molly!"
Yeah. That was my first option. I saw that, and I need this. I need this. I'm going to take this one.
Yeah, that was a really good.
I was beyond excited.
Yeah, I mean, I think lab radars are running what $600+ right now.
650.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that would have been
actually for the lab radar light, which doesn't have the Bluetooth. So we sent the cert in. They sent me an email back saying that they didn't have those, so they actually upgraded her to the standard lab radar, which is like $100 more, just so they could get it out and get it to her. We've already received it. Can't wait to get it set up and running.
Yes.
Was super stoked about the lab radar.
Absolutely. It is going to put to amazing use. Like, I cannot wait to use this.
I will say one thing about lab radar. Love it. I don't have one. My buddy has one, and I loan it out, or he loans it to me all the time. Again, I don't think you'd ever do this, but be careful. I have seen people at matches where they try to get their velocity day of and then go in and change in their kestrel what their gun's been shooting and change it day of. And the amount of times I've seen that happen in a match, and that shooter then does terrible at the match because they've changed all their data in their kestrel is, yeah, especially the 22 world. It's like, I don't know, at least from my experience, don't touch something if it isn't broken. At least in the day of a match. Centerfire world, I guess, completely different. You know, I'm not huge into centerfire, but just load development and those lab radars are amazing what they can do for centerfire world. So, but yeah, don't ever do it on the day of the match and change your velocities, please.
Yes.
I've seen it go wrong too many times. But no, those lab radars are phenomenal. I think Mark pulled. By the way, people listening, Mark again is in Bismarck. I think his internet was gone out, so he is no longer in this call. If I'm not mistaken, he got a bar stool as well. I think he took a stool off the table. If I'm not mistaken, was his prize as well.
I believe so, but I'm not 100%.
Yes. 100%.
Or no, yes, he did. He did get a bar stool. Yes. So, but yeah. So, again, thank you, JT and Molly, for being on the podcast.
Thanks for having us.
Even though he's not here. Since Mark isn't here, we can talk crap. Congrats, guys. We beat Mark. You know, Molly, you took a trophy home. That's a win right there. I got fifth.
Awesome trophy.
Yep.
Like,
the trophies were
Metalworks made them. And they were absolutely outstanding. Like,
say it again. I think I may have overstepped you. Who made them?
King Skull Metalworks. He makes amazing trophies.
Yes, they did a very good job. If you guys haven't seen, go check them out.
3D and they've got like LED lights in them. They're by far the coolest trophy I've ever seen.
If this wasn't a podcast, I would include pictures, but it was very cool.
For the people that are listening, you can go on to Facebook and go to King Skull Metalworks. He's actually got a post with people with their trophies.
Mm-hmm.
They were amazing.
They're incredible.
They're actually 3D. It's actually really cool.
Yeah.
It's a haunted house, 3D haunted house with LED lights behind it, lighting up the haunted house. It's really cool. I think if they did that again next year, they should find. Now it'd probably be hard to find, but find some LED that almost kind of flickered in like I know this is really weird, but I'm a techie. Almost flicker like rain, like a storm, like the thunder and lightning flashes.
Oh,
like then you have the LED kind of go to like that pattern, because then it would just kind of look like the spooky haunted house. You know, if you want to spend more money, maybe somehow develop a miniature fog machine. I don't know how you would do that, but
That'd be cool though.
But the trophies were badass. I was pretty the Mark, rubbing in that I didn't get a trophy. I got 5th, but that is one thing I wanted was one of those trophies. So
yes, I was stoked. That is probably one of my most favorite trophies I've ever brought home.
Yeah, that is awesome. But other than that, actually, I was gonna tell you this. You guys actually, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but you guys have been shooting some matches that are affiliated with the Pro Series. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I've been inputting some scores from some of the matches you guys have been shooting. I think you guys shot at Watertown, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Yeah, you guys, that is a Pro Series match. So if you guys want, sign up for free. If you go to the Pro Series website and get a membership number, and those matches will count, like they'll backdate, and you guys can actually qualify for our championship match in Montana in June, which
Nice.
yeah, it'd be fun to have you guys come out here
that'd be
and
awesome.
shoot a match. So yeah, I'm like, I saw it the other day. I was like, all these points that are being entered. I'm like, I don't have a member ID number for you, Molly. I'm like, they're just sitting here. You're not, your score's not showing up on the website because you're not a member. I'm like, guys, gotta capitalize. So yeah, I know I saw you guys been going to Watertown, and then have you guys made it to any other matches? I think I saw you guys on like a Huron match as well.
Huron,
So,
yep, we went to a Huron match.
Yep, we shot the Rooster Rimfire,
which is
X
awesome.
match, and then we shot their monthly match the day after.
Mm-hmm.
And then we went down and shot
monthly match in Huron.
Yep.
And then some Pro Series in Watertown, and I believe a Hunter style match in Watertown as well, which was all super fun.
Yeah, we have, so currently in South Dakota, we have Watertown, Huron, and Mitchell, Fort Pierre, and then we have far west, we got Black Hills. So yeah, you guys have, even you might be Minnesota, but you're pretty close to some of these matches. So yeah, I mean, we'd love to have you guys come out to a championship match. So yeah, sign up for our membership, and we can hopefully see you guys out for the finale. So
that'd be awesome.
It'd be cool to see you guys out here. So, but Mark, are you in here? It shows you're in here now, maybe.
Yeah, I had some technical difficulties apparently.
We were just talking about the very end here, closing up about prizes. I think you walked with a bar stool, right?
That and a Glock upper that I traded JT for.
Oh, nice. Yeah, there was a lot of cool things on the prize table. So, but yeah, thank you guys for being on the podcast. Mark, welcome back. And hopefully I see you guys in the next one. I know there'll be one more match this NRL season and that Ruth and Justin put on. I think they're moving their summer match that's normally in June to May. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, this will be on this year's roster or this year's calendar. So hopefully see you guys in that match. And then
you'll most definitely see my father and I.
Yep. And then other than that, really, I think we're not going to, at least this podcast will have another episode. Well, there'll be one more after this for the Newcastle Wyoming match that just happened. I do that one next week, or record that podcast next week. And I think that would be the last match I shoot until that match. I mean, it's going to be very up in the air of all the Utah matches and the other Wyoming matches because they're all in March and February and March. And for most people who know Montana, Wyoming, Utah, they're states you really don't want to travel in February, March. It's very rare that you get good conditions in February, March. So I don't think I'll be going really any matches. I don't think I'm going to go to the Pulver Vortex match this year. I think it was a fun match, but I did not enjoy freezing my butt off. So I don't think I'm going to do another really podcast for this match debrief till probably Ruth and Justin's match. So yeah, it should be a fun one, but thank you guys for being on. Mark, welcome back. And thanks for joining me, guys. Again,
Thank
Mark,
you.
I got 5th place. I beat you, Mark. That's a win.
Gotta put that out.
Never happened.
It never happened. I'm gonna make sure on the YouTube video of this podcast, I'm gonna put up the rankings and to show mine 5th, yours 8th. Just remember, Mark. Just remember. You're only as good as your last match shot, Mark, and currently I'm better than you. Thank you, guys. See you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.